Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. What's going on, guys? Today, we are talking a little bit more about UAPs and the disclosure going on. Or is it? I'm not sure. I can't tell. For the longest time, and I'm sure many of you are like this as well, people want to know the truth. What's going on? Area 51, et cetera, et cetera. And then the government comes out and is like, well, we have some stuff to tell you. And we're just like, hold on a second. Hold on a second, buddy. I don't know if I believe you. That's where I'm at with it. It's very hard. And Joe Rogan today is focusing on one person. This congressman, he goes by the name Eric Burley. Okay, you can just call him Burley. That's what he likes to be called. Eric Burley is very much into UAPs. He wants more disclosure. He wants the American people to know what's going on, but I'm not so sure. You're going to understand why I'm not so sure. After I play the Joe Rogan clip, we're going to get into this Eric Burley person because put your tinfoil Speedo on. I have a weird suspicion about this guy. Not to say that I don't think he's lying. I'm not thinking that he's a liar, and I don't even really think he's a fraud of any kind. But I just find him very interesting, his situation. But I'll get into that after I play the clip. But let's jump into the Joe Rogan clip first. Mike Baker, ladies and gentlemen. I told you Mike Baker was coming. You didn't believe me. You didn't ask for it. No one ever does. But we get a nice Mike Baker episode pretty much every 2 months, Let's get into it.
Yeah. So the thing that I sent you, the Lockheed Martin thing, is people are claiming, it's again a lot of horse. Who fucking knows that Lockheed Martin created that Tic Tac, and that there's been 3 different versions of it. I sent you that, right?
Who are the people claiming? Yeah.
So the idea is, this is what I wanted to ask you about. So this is a congressman who says this. Congressman Eric Burleson dropped the bombshell evidence that Lockheed Martin has developed 3 generations of Tic Tac UFO technology. Is that real, though? Did he say that, or is this just a fucking tweet?
Let's quote is right there. I had 2 people come to me.
I understand that, but did he actually say that, or is that just a quote on Twitter?
No, I believe he said that.
Okay.
I saw other people say it too.
Oh, okay. So he says, I've had 2 people come to me that say that the Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin creation. The latest person came to me, says he has video of the first, second, and third iteration of the Tic Tac, Burleson revealed. This isn't speculation. This is a congressman with direct access to classified information. The implications are staggering. Lockheed Martin allegedly discovered a revolutionary new propulsion system and has been secretly developing it for decades. According to Burleson's source, they used it in the first iteration, which was the Tic Tac. They have an intermediary one that they are more advanced with, and then now they're putting it inside what looks like conventional so that it's not obvious.
Okay.
What do you think about?
Yeah, I'm going to have to call on all that. Look, there's interesting, if you scroll back down, there's an interesting, when you start to, there you go, dissecting this. He says, I've had 2 people come to me that say that Tic Tac's a Lockheed Martin creation. Now, he doesn't say who those 2 people are.
I've had 2 people come to me that said they had sex with Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, I did. But you've got, then it says, this isn't speculation. This is a congressman with direct access to classified information, which is the implication that, well, the people that came to him with this have access to classified information, which is, there's no connection there. So they're taking a data point and another data point, and they're drawing a line between the 2 of them.
Right,
and saying, yes, he's getting this from classified. Yeah, exactly. And so, and also the next part has been secretly developing it for decades. I'm here to tell you that if Lockheed Martin was developing something for decades, a new form of propulsion, maybe I'm just a cynical son of a bitch, but I don't think they'd be keeping it secret for all this time. I don't think it would have been able to be kept secret because somebody would have opened their yap, or the Chinese would have gotten their hands on it.
I'm glad the CIA is here to tell us that. Fantastic. And that's the thing about this, right? It's like, you're going to believe Mike Baker? Is that what we're doing? Is that what the JRE audience has devolved into, that we're just believing what Mike Baker has to say with all his chopped up talking points and long list of notes he always comes with? Really? Like what he just said doesn't really line up with me too much. But still, I'm going to show you some stuff about Eric and what Eric has to actually say, this congressman. But I'm not buying what Mike says. Oh, let me tell you, this top secret defense contracting company wouldn't be able to keep a secret for all that long. What are you? You're the CIA. What are you talking about? We don't even know who the JFK second shooter was. Get out of here. What are you talking about? The list isn't even released. People can keep secrets for a long time, buddy. He was in the business of keeping secrets. And he's just like, oh, people can't keep secrets for that long. I don't know. Maybe things have changed a little bit since you were in the bureau, or in the agency, I should say. But I think he's still in the agency. That's why I'm acting this way about Mike Baker. Anyway, let's keep going.
In their economic and intel espionage efforts. So I don't know. This strikes me as, and then I've got video of it. Okay, well, how about you show us the goddamn video?
Right.
It's always the same thing.
It's always the same thing.
Yeah,
It's always like, I've seen video. Well, f***ing show me, baby.
Yeah. It's
and
like,
then here's the problem. The more time they wait, the more it's Luke Skywalker. Like, you're going to show me something. How the hell do I know what's real anymore?
Exactly.
We're 6 months away from never knowing.
Right. That is exactly right, and that's the problem. And I think we've talked about this before. There are companies out there, private companies that are working, trying to figure out how do you get ahead of the curve of deep fakes, right, and AI generated material, and it is really difficult, right? It's lagging that defensive capabilities lagging behind, right, the offensive potential for AI generated material. So, again, I agree with it. Someone's going to show this, or it's going to be grainy, blurry, and going like, see, there it is, right?
Oh, I had a guy recently come to me with a bunch of videos that he needed me to look at, and every one of them was fucking blurry. And I'm like, I'm not interested in this.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean anything to me.
Every time you've got another hearing up on Capitol Hill, it's always the same. I can't talk about it. I've seen this but it's in a skiff, and I can't, this is very sensitive, and, kind of goes back to, people getting in front of the camera and saying, I've seen evidence, but I can't tell you about it. You're just going to have to trust me. I don't know. I'm not.
That's exactly what Mike Baker does. I mean, what are we talking about here? And I'm always very charitable with Mike Baker, but that's what he always does. He'll say, oh, some people, and, I have very good authority, and, from what I can see and what I know and my expertise, like, he does the exact same thing all the time. All the time. And we hate it, but we don't complain, Mike Baker. We don't complain. We just wish you weren't on the show as much. Not me. I will say, I like it. I like to hear what the CIA is up to every now and then. Where else are you going to get that kind of information? Only Joe can bring you that type of stuff.
I'm not a buyer necessarily. If the congressman wants to make a point of this, then he needs to be more clear on this, right?
Right. And when people say things like that and then nothing comes of it, it makes you more and more inclined to believe it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Whereas that's where I am. So I'm like, I think the possibility of alien life, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. There's so many planets, and so many stars, and the idea that we're alone seems crazy. That seems more unlikely. But I don't know what's real when people describe things and talk about things, and things are moving underwater at 500 knots. Okay, show me.
Yeah.
Show me. Like, I can't anymore. I can't respond. I can't get excited.
No, I agree. And sure, everybody's chasing, just like they're chasing a better battery. Everybody's chasing a new form of propulsion, right? I mean, that's a leading part of what governments are spending their money on if they have the resources to do it. There's a national security issue there, and you would think that the congressman then would say, oh, okay, maybe if you're telling me this, I'm not going to go out in public and say it, right? Maybe if we're talking about this, maybe I shouldn't be talking about what Lockheed Martin is doing and obviously working hard, if it's correct, to keep it secret, because that's a national security issue. So what the hell's he doing here?
Right.
I don't know. It all sounds, like, it's a sack of bullshit.
Well, it's also like the problem is a lot of these politicians, it's kind of a form of entertainment in a lot of a way because they're trying to get attention. It's like they're almost like reality stars, right? They're trying to do something outrageous to get attention, and that'll help them get elected. It'll get the constituents on their side, and I'm going to be the guy that releases all this information. Oh, let's vote for Bob.
I'm the UFO congressman.
Yeah, but it's like you're not producing anything. Yeah. Show me, tell me, or shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I agree, and it does. I'm approached maybe once a month about doing a new series, focused on UFOs, and my point is always the same, which is, look, what are we going to talk about?
Right.
What are you going to show that's going to be something new that maybe people learn something about?
Right.
And it's always the same. I'm not saying, again, I agree with it. There's definitely stuff out there, right? We've explored, like a drop of water in a glass of the universe, right? So there's stuff out there. I approach it all from a skeptical point of view. So.
Well, I think you have to, because there's also, unfortunately, a market in talking about these things. And there's a lot of grifters out there that have made a career out of telling you they know.
Yeah.
I have the information. It's been brought to me, and I'm going to release it. And it's like Lucy and Charlie Brown with that goddamn football. Charlie never gets to kick that football. Like, this is the time. This is it.
He never has he?
Never has.
Never has.
Every time he goes to kick that football, that just pulls it away from him, and he goes flying up in the air.
Damn it. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he needed to identify as trans. Then she'd give him a break. I don't know where I came up with that one. Oh, I'm gonna get lambasted for that.
They're gonna come for you.
Oh, they're gonna come for me.
You reached on that one.
Yeah, I did.
It's just like I want there to be some information that's real, and I think there are, like, Commander David Fravor's depictions and his descriptions of what happened, and there's other fighter pilots that were involved. They have video evidence.
Yeah.
That's compelling.
Yeah,
Like, what
it
is
is.
that? What does it mean? What is it doing? How is something able to go from 50,000 feet above sea level to zero so quickly? Like, what is that?
Yeah, no, I agree. And we've talked about that. That's one of the few things that I think is legit right out there and needs further investigation. Again, you have to pick and choose. Is there a reason to have a identification program in the Pentagon? Of course, goddamn, there is. It's a national security issue. Figure out what the hell's flying around up there, right?
Right. If it's real.
If it's real, and did the Chinese come up with a new form of propulsion, right?
Yeah.
And if they did, they undoubtedly stole it from Lockheed Martin. There was just
Man, very, very interesting stuff, Very interesting stuff. Here's the thing about what Joe said. When he said that the politicians kind of like Hollywood, they're kind of like reality stars. That's true. When I see Gavin and he's like, arrest me, Tom Homer, lock me up. He's trying to like force tears out of his eyes, this lizard DNA. They don't have tears, but he tries so hard all the time. He's right in that sense. But I feel like when it comes to Eric, I don't know how much this type of thing is going to help a guy who's just become a congressman in Missouri. I don't know how much this type of thing helps this guy. Now, I didn't know this. When it comes to congressmen, there's freshmen. So there's I think there's freshmen. So you're a junior congressman, you're fresh, then there's senior, etc. Now, he just got into Congress. Just got in. And he's already on this type of tip. I find that to be, I doubt the people of Missouri were thinking this guy just got into Congress and hopefully he addresses UAPs and UFOs right off the bat. I doubt that's what anybody was hoping who put him in this position. I'm just saying. Now, let's hear about what he actually did say, because he was on Timcast when he released this statement that Joe was actually talking about. So let's hear him actually talk about it.
I've had two people come to me that say that the Tic Tac is a Lockheed Martin creation. The latest person that came to me says he has video of the first, second, and third iteration of the Tic Tac, and he's going to show me. So I'm trying to set that up. The way he describes it is that they had a prototype, they've made changes to it, they've made it more advanced, and then now it's in iteration number 3, which I did see a photo of, and it looks like pretty advanced military like craft, like a plane, but it's clearly human made. It's nothing that I've ever seen, our military has, but his claim is that they have discovered a propulsion that's a new type of propulsion. They used it in the first iteration, which was the Tic Tac. They have an intermediary one that they are more advanced with. And then now they're putting it inside of what looks conventional, so that it's not obvious.
Disguise. Oh, that's interesting. So you're saying eventually the tech makes its way into things that we're already familiar with.
Well,
right. So he actually did say this, just in case anyone was wondering. They found it on Instagram, but it was an actual conversation he was having. But this is not the only conversation this guy has had. He's talking about this all the time, it seems. Now, I'm going to reveal how I feel this actually looks, and I know that I'm becoming like the ancient alien guys. You know that meme with the guy with the crazy hair, and he's like, aliens. You know that guy? I'm becoming like that guy, but with me, I'm going to be paused like this, and it's going to say demons. I'm just giving you a little window into where I'm going with this. But here's the thing. The guy's a new senator. Okay, or sorry, he's a new congressman, fresh. He just started up. He starts with this type of talk right away. And let's just keep going. I'm just going to build my case because I think this guy is very sincere, but it's possible that he could be being used. By who, I will reveal very soon. Let's keep going.
I believe that this topic, that no government has the right to protect or to hide something of this nature from the American people. And I fundamentally believe that the government works for the people, not the other way around. And so the people own this government. I think it's time that this government stop holding on to secrets that the American people need to know. And so that's fundamentally how I view this topic. And there is a tension, just to elaborate, there is a tension. There's concerns often that are brought up that we might be exposing programs that are truly intelligence, things that are national security issues. But at the end of the day, these technological advances belong to everyone. And the topic, of the fact that we may or may not have contacted an alien or non-human intelligence, that is not for this government or any government to hold onto those rights. And so that's why I think that what we're trying to do is with the disclosure with the Disclosure Act that we're working on, I think it does it through a thoughtful process that we're protecting our technology, but we're also getting the information out to the American people and being transparent. And look, I also, for example, I fly a lot. And I fly commercial. And as I was sitting at Reagan 2 weeks ago for 3 hours on the tarmac, not moving, waiting for weather to change, and getting angry as I'm sweating in this, hot airplane, I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it, if this is true, that the United States and our contractors have got technology that would absolutely change the way we travel, then I think that's going to make me very angry if that's true and they've been holding on to that. I think that
guys thinking about getting to places faster. buddy, you don't have the tax bracket to access something like that. Are you kidding me right now? You're not there for that type of thing. Yeah, you're a freshman congressman, bro. You're not getting express flights. Okay? You're still commercial, bro. You think this is? And you think that's the first thing they're going to do? All technology, man. They always present it to everybody like, man, it's so convenient for all of you. But the first thing on their mind, they're like, can we use this to attack people? That's the first thing. Anything. How do you think Sam Altman and all these AI guys got Trump on board with AI? Trump was like, let me just ask you something, Sam. You're saying Sam Altman. This is a very odd name. You're an odd guy. You, Elon, you guys are very odd. Am I going to be able to attack people? Okay? I just want to, will I be able to attack people with this? And Altman's like, there's potential, but I wouldn't want. Okay, like he said, we'll be able to attack people. I'll make sure it's in the big, beautiful bill. Goodbye, Altman. Is that your name? Okay, have a good one. Very odd guy. He's pale. So pale. What's wrong with that guy? That's the first thing on their mind when they're working this whole thing out. They're not thinking about how to get us to places. They're not really thinking about how to make our lives easier. The making our lives easier part is to pacify us and to make us think that it's a good thing and that it's for us.
I fully believe that there is a crash retrieval.
Okay, here he says this. He talks about a crash retrieval program here.
I fully believe that there is a crash retrieval program. I'm confident that exists. The question is,
what are they retrieving? And are the stories of Jacob Barber and others true that occasionally they will retrieve something that's non-human intelligence or that's created by someone outside of Earth. So that's yet to be proven to me. And so, but I fully believe and know that there is a crash retrieval program. Often retrieving our own materials, our test materials, or our adversaries' materials.
So he fully believes, he fully knows. But the thing is, the reason that he does, let me just jump over here. Let me jump over to this one really quick. The reason that he knows is because David Grush got a hold of this guy as he was getting into Congress. But not just David Grush, also this dude, Luis, who was also on Joe Rogan's podcast. The guy who claimed to be a whistleblower, but was still working for the Pentagon at the same time. So these guys got a hold of this guy. So it makes me wonder, is this guy really having access to all this stuff? Or is he just regurgitating Grush's talking points? Because he's saying in the Lockheed thing, he's saying some people have come to him and said this. Who could those people be? It's definitely not people from Lockheed Martin. I would think that wouldn't be happening because it's a freshman. Why would they be coming to a guy who just got into Congress? Why wouldn't they go to someone more seasoned? You know what I mean? Why go to the guy who just got into Congress into regards to Missouri? Why him? It just seems like he was the most susceptible, and I don't know for sure. Maybe AOC is a UFO nut. I have no idea. Maybe Jasmine Crockett is too. I have no idea. But it seems like they were able to get to him, and now he is parroting out everything. And again, I bring this up because I do believe that they are laying the groundwork for something. I said it before. I believe that there's aliens out there. There has to be. Everything's too vast. Too many planets, too many galaxies that they say that they've found and can see. For there to be nothing out there just wouldn't make any sense. But I think everything that we're being told in terms of them coming out with all this disclosure out of nowhere, I think that is laying the groundwork for something. I talked about this. I was connecting the dots in another episode where I was talking about the intel. I actually have the notes right here. I was talking about the intel community, their relationships with these UFOs, supposedly, the UAP being BS, because why would we trust people in intelligence who created Project Bluebeam? Maybe not the same generation of people, but just, as a whole, and then, Bluebeam being able to disguise aliens as be able to disguise a demon as some kind of alien entity. But he also talks about that a little bit too. Not here. We'll do that a little later. But here, listen to this. And this is where it gets weird too. When you talk about laying the groundwork, he's talking to people in Japan right now. Okay? So I'm going to play this clip, then play another clip of a person from News Nation. And these guys from Japan talk to him as well. And wait till you hear what they say to him.
I was visited by a military contractor from my part of the United States, the Midwest, who makes his own drones for the U.S. government. And in the course of testing his drones, flying his drones, he has captured footage and photos of some competitors and their advanced products that are flying. And he claims that he has video footage of breakthrough technology, but it's not alien. This individual, and he's not ready to come forward yet. I'm going to go meet with him, but he says it's not alien. It is it's United States defense contractors that have breakthrough technology. I was visited by a
and then we have that somebody actually saying, "Hey, this is not alien. This is actually of the actual military, U.S. military, and otherwise, I'm sure as well." But somebody actually comes forward and says this. This is not from some far out place. So again, it kind of shows that some kind of groundwork is being laid, allowing this guy who's building drones to see them, allowing so many people, pilots from all over the world, allowing all these people to see them go into water, see them come out of water, see them go all around, see all this stuff. It's like there's some kind of groundwork being laid. And, that kind of brought the cat out of the bag for the most part. But here's another part. This is the News Nation guy. Now listen to what these guys in Japan are saying to him.
He believes that the Japanese government is not very good now with taking leadership, but he was behind the effort of the caucus, and they are trying to they are demanding them to do something about it. And he says that, if you'd like to interview some people, he knows some individuals within the defense department who can maybe say something very interesting to you.
I would be very honored. We would be extremely interested at News Nation, the American TV network I work for, to interview people in the government to talk about this. Because in my country, Australia, the government still has its head in the sand. It is still in denial, even though the Americans have admitted that UAPs are real. So,
see, it's very interesting. These guys, Japan, they're offering up, have News Nation, who is always at the heart of all this stuff. Now, maybe it's just great journalism, but they are always at the heart of any disclosure that comes out. They're always the first ones to have Grush on, Luis on, etc., except they're always the first one to have these guys on, And it just brings me back to a while ago, like a year and a half ago, maybe even longer, where Joe Rogan was questioning the validity because he had never heard of News Nation. He was like, "What is this? Is this real?" He thought it was like AstroTurf of some kind. And I started looking into that because I was making an episode on it. I'm like, okay, let's dig deeper into what Joe's talking about, what he's thinking. And I started finding these weird inconsistencies in their broadcasts where they would say they were in a place, but they clearly weren't. And if you know audio and you know video and you understand how all of it, you could see that they would claim to be in one place, Washington, Colorado, whatever it was, and they were clearly in a studio. You could tell they were in a studio. You could see it. It was weird. So ever since then, and ever since I see them all the time being the ones that are always focused on this disclosure, it makes me wonder, are they a part of whatever groundwork is being laid? I don't know. Now, when we also bring up Japan and them offering up their defense, their people in the Defense Department, the defense ministers is what they've offered up. It makes you wonder, because America has a great relationship with Japan, right? So when it comes to this groundwork being laid, when we're talking about what could be done, this is not an America thing. This is not a Canada thing. This is not a continent. This is a worldwide thing. Every country will be put on notice when this happens, if this happens, right? We're talking about, again, this is just me, tinfoil Speedos on. If you didn't put yours on already, you're probably soaking wet. Put yours on, okay? Bikinis, whatever you do, put it on ASAP. But when we're talking about potentially this interdimensional type of being brought in and being presented as an alien from a far, far place, when really it's this, and this is just me talking, it's this evil entity that's going to try and bring about some kind of one world government, and it's going to try and bring about people moving away from religion and things of that nature, moving us away from our divine nature as humans and making us feel more insignificant than ever and feeling like we have to go along with all this, or we won't be able to join some kind of federation or whatever they put in front of us, and we all have to move in unison. When we're talking about that, you're going to see countries start to work together. And I just find that, Japan saying this to a dude that works at News Nation is so odd to me. I don't know if that's odd to you. It's really odd to me. Maybe you like News Nation. I like them. Listen, even when I like something, I'm on the right. I'm conservative. Even the things that I like, And the side that I'm on, I'm not blind to the side that I'm on. I'm not blind to the things that I like or the people that I admire. I'm not blind to it, for the most part, I think. Still a little biased, of course, but, All right, let's play this clip now.
When I read Rush's report, that's public that anyone can read. In the report, he described that one of the theories is that what we're encountering are beings that are extra dimensional. Or when I read Rush's report, that's public that anyone can read. In the report, he described that one of the theories is that what we're encountering are beings that are extra dimensional or interdimensional, meaning that, and he used the holographic theory that as though we're living on a two-dimensional surface being encountered by a three-dimensional object. Well, in this case, we're living in a three-dimensional environment, and we could be being encountered by something that's of a higher dimension. And when it does, it's not necessarily traveling. I mean, it could travel, but I think if something exists in a different dimension, then space-time difference, the distance may become irrelevant at that point. What I think is the least likely probability is that we are being visited by some alien race from another planet that is light years away. I know in the hearing I flubbed and I said, thousands of light years. What I meant to say is thousands, millions, trillions, billions of miles away.
Yeah.
And light years away from us, right? Whatever you want to call it, it's a long way. It's a really long way to anywhere, and it's a long way in any direction. So the probability of some other alien race evolving to that level, and then deciding to, of all places, come this direction, and then, as I said in the hearing, they've got the technology to get here and invest all that time to get here and energy to get here, and then they crash. I don't buy it.
See, and that's what messes me up right there. So he's talking about Grush's report. Now he has the interdimensional thing down, and that's where I'm at, right? When I first started looking into him, I'm like, okay, this guy might be being used, and this is an odd thing. But then near the end of my research, I find this, and I go, oh, so he's like on the same page. And he says it's because of Grush. And if you guys know me, when I think of Grush, I think I didn't find him very believable at all, because my wife and I did so much research into everything he said, and it was all things that you could already find on the internet. Not one thing that he said when he was on News Nation, Joe Rogan, or in congressional hearings were things that were not already available on the internet. Go look into it. Not one thing. He brought no new information. So for me, I was like, oh, this is Fugazi for sure. But then this guy has this outlook now. So it flips me on my head. So right away, I thought for sure this guy's like a useful idiot. But now I'm not too sure. Now I'm not too sure, because and he becomes more believable to me at this point, Eric here, with a very questionable outfit. This outfit looks, doesn't this out like from far away? Doesn't he look like someone? Doesn't he look like an Austrian painter from this far away? Am I wrong? Am I messed up? I'm just saying. So it's very interesting who this guy is. I really want to interview him. I hope he's willing to do an interview. He also asked Luis this question about this type of stuff.
Say is that it was blocked.
There was a journalist, Christopher Sharp, who said that there was a transfer between Lockheed Martin, Bigelow Aerospace, and the CIA allegedly blocked this. Can you describe that?
What I can say is that it was blocked. Why it was blocked, I can only surmise. I was part of some conversations later on with some of those contract personnel where they had told all of us that is accurate.
It was previously testified that there was biologics that were collected. Are you aware of any of that?
I am, sir, aware of the reporting that biologics have been recovered.
To your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace, we scramble 2 F-22s, and we are certainly communicating intent and capability. I think the same goes with this. We have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace, and they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our nuclear equities.
So I just find that, again, very interesting that the guy who just started out in Congress, Grush gets a hold of him. Luis is the person that he's sitting in front of when in this congressional hearing. He has all these perspectives on what's going on. It sounds like he's far off with the whole alien thing, but then also he has the interdimensional thing in mind. He says he gets that from Grush. It's just like, it threw me for a real loop. I can't tell what this guy is. And it's interesting because I have this bias and I know it, because although I see this stuff with Eric Burley, the congressman, the fact that I see him aligned with Luis and Grush makes me question him no matter what, right? So, like, I know that about myself, but I'm also not blind to it, and I see he's saying some things that even I think. So it's just very interesting. I just wanted to go a little deeper than what Mike Baker's gonna bring to you guys. I don't think it's as simple as this guy's just saying things. I think there might be, my end thought would be, I think there might be a combination. No matter what, I think they're laying the groundwork for something. I think that's why you're seeing all this stuff. You're hearing all this stuff, all these congressional hearings. Think about 10 years ago. You weren't hearing about this all the time. Not like this. Not so out in the open. Not so all the time. Not like this. This is like every 3 months, there's some new person, some new development. It's increasing so quickly. And it's on pace with AI reaching super intelligence, which I also find very interesting as well. So I'm just, I think they're laying the groundwork, but I also think some people are used as useful idiots. And I also think at the same time that this Eric guy might be a trustworthy type of person. Ever since I started talking about the spiritual layer that's on top of all this stuff, ever since I started talking about that and started thinking about that, I can't unsee it. So they have to be laying the groundwork for something. They're acting like as if, we're getting told if you don't merge with machines, you're going to get left behind. Also, we're constantly being told extraterrestrial life exists. And I feel like they just don't present information for no reason. I think predictive programming is a real thing. And I don't think that they just push that aside and be like, we got to tell you guys the truth. And I think that whether it's the left or right, I think they're all involved in that respect. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about all this. I'm out of here.